said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch! You filthy... Flyover State of Fear. Welcome back to Flyover State of Fear. I got a great guest for you. Returning guest, Katie from Werewolf Ambulance, a horror comedy podcast. How you doing, Katie?
I'm great, Joe. Thanks for having me back. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, no, this is great. I've wanted to message you since we ended our recording. I was like, okay, I'm going to wait just a little longer. And then I was like, well, I got to resume, so I'll just have Katie back on.
I'm glad that I'm like an easy way to just wade back into the baby pool.
Well, no, it's good because it's coming. And then our first conversation, which even no one's checked it out, is Halloween 3. We had, I think, such a fun conversation revisiting it.
Yes.
I was excited what you're going to pick today, which is Fire in the Sky, which I've never heard. I have never heard of, and I know it's not like unknown, but we'll wait a minute to get into it.
Sure.
How you been?
I've been all right, living my COVID lifestyle and hanging in there. How about you guys?
Same COVID lifestyle when it's like necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. When COVID happens.
I'm just like, oh, I want to go to the ballpark this weekend, but like also like you got COVID, cool. Maybe you stay home and I'll.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, no, I definitely get that. Yeah, it's really funny. We were just on the pre-show, so before, since the last time we talked, I've listened to your show.
Okay.
A lot. I've become a frequent viewer. Like with how you fall down the rabbit hole, you're like that one. You're like you and Alan are so funny. Yep. Doing that. But
do it for 2 weeks, and then you're like, I'm so sick of these people. Which is exactly how I listen to podcasts.
Well, I listened to a few today because I was in that mood, and I was like a little burned out from like stand-up comedians and like from other movie stuff. So I was like, let's go. I'm talking to Katie. The problem with it is, though, we've communicated before. We've recorded a show before. Is that everything you say, I want to shoot you a text of like, oh shit, you did, and then it's like you just don't do that. That's the problem.
It's funny because like I'm sure you have this too, where people listen to your show that know you in real life, and then they're like, "Oh, I feel like we just hung out," and you're like, "I wasn't there."
Yeah, no,
you were
it's
there
what
on
it
your
is.
own. Yeah.
There's this meme of a kid eating ice cream next to a bunch of an advertisement eating ice cream, and it's like what it feels to listen to podcasts. And they're all laughing, and I'm like, that is exactly because like I think I sent you one thing once, and it was you were talking about the Rocky IV Stallone sweater, the Italian V sweater he wears, and I purchased it. I got it for Christmas.
Yes, I almost bought that.
And I said you had to buy it. It was the only time I reached out because I was like, you have to buy that because it looks pretty great.
I just I think it was like maybe $75, and I was like, do I justify buying myself the Rocky IV sweater?
it was a Christmas gift. I couldn't justify that, but it was also like, you need to put things on your Christmas list. So I was like,
that's true. Well, I know what I'm asking Santa for next year.
I have a nice Sylvester Stallone sweatshirt collection growing. That and an over-the-top sweatshirt.
Really?
Yeah, it says Hawk and Sons. It says Hawk and Sons.
Yes.
So, but yeah, no, and but anyway, just wanted to let you know that you guys put on a fantastic show, and then like you want to chime in.
Too.
Thank you. But yeah, so Fire in the Sky. And for any new listeners, if you want to hear Katie's origin story, just go back to her first episode. I think we talk about the Burbs. I'm not the Burbs. The Birds.
Oh, probably.
Talk about
birds,
the birds.
Yeah.
We talk about the birds, and I think that's what did it. So, but anyway, Fire in the Sky. And so this was a movie.
Undoubtedly that.
So I guess at first start, before I even read the synopsis and everything, why'd you pick this?
Okay, so this movie was inexplicably kind of like big on home video when I was in high school. So I remember watching it at a sleepover, like on the floor in someone's basement, and just being like shitting my pants scared. And
Yeah.
I hadn't really seen it since, maybe like once in college, and probably intoxicated and was like, it's so fucking scary. And then I was like, I can't wait to do this again. I know it's not a traditional horror movie, but I remember being so scared. And then I watched it the other day and was like,
No,
uh-oh.
that's completely fine. I'm glad you did because we just goof around about it. But it's funny that you
I
said it because in
mean,
our messages, I was like, "Yeah, I looked it up. I'm in." And you go, "It's scary." And then last night I tweeted out like, "They're now watching Fire and Sky," and I got, I think, 3 or 2 tweets immediately from people around a similar, like late 30s, early 40s, all like, "That thing fucked me up. That is so scary." And like one of them's a good friend of mine, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I started watching the movie, and it's 9:10. Okay, I started at like a 10:30, 11 last night.
oh,
I
that's
was,
bedtime.
yeah, I was asleep by. Well, we just finished Saw. We're watching Better Call Saul. The
Oh,
first one.
Saul. I thought you said
Saul.
Saw.
No,
And I was like,
Saul.
well, that's really going to be like a weird
No,
step for
We
you.
just finished Better Call Saul. Sorry, that's my New Jersey
A
mumble.
Saw.
Sauce. So I was like awake, and then I wasn't, and then I
Yeah.
resumed it before work today. But like always, I have not read the synopsis, so I'm gonna read the synopsis and some shit about the movie before we kind of just walk through it. All
Okay.
right, so in 1975, a group of 5 men are driving home after working in a forest when they see a mysterious light. Intrigued, Travis Walton leaves the truck only to be sucked up by a flying saucer. The other 4 men report the strange event, but they are skeptically interrogated by Lieutenant Frank Waters. What? Oh, who suspects that murder is behind Walton's disappearance? What Walton appears 5 days later when his story of alien abduction is met with disbelief. That's pretty accurate, actually, and that's the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. I forgot how much of the movie, or maybe I never noticed how much of the movie is just like Hallmark movie being ostracized by a small town, like
It
lightly Scarlet Letter.
yeah, it has that. It's like, why didn't this just stick to a Lifetime movie or movie of the week? I mean, it had like a $15 million budget and made
Yeah.
19. It made nearly 20 million, but
And I mean, Robert Patrick is a big name at the time.
it
DB
is.
Sweeney is a guy you know from everything, but not anything in
Mhm.
particular. Yeah.
He looks like at first, like in this, I read my notes of like low rent Paul Rudd in that, like in Wet Hot
Yeah.
American Summer, DB Sweeney looks
Hmm.
like Wet Hot American Summer Paul Rudd, but just like the Kmart version.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no, I mean, I just couldn't get over Robert Patrick's assumably luscious hair or wig, especially at the end of the movie.
It is so wiggy at the beginning when it's like under his hat and you're still like, "Oh, no, 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 baby,
That's
no."
yeah, it's so silly. And this reminds me of because like everyone I imagine remembers this right, and I'm new to this movie, but like as probably the scene in the ship, right, which is like 20 minutes
Yeah.
with a really really scary part.
Yeah.
Uh, it's kind of like I don't know if you guys ever covered the original When a Stranger Calls from like
No.
'78.
No.
It's kind of like that in the
Okay.
sense of like my dad has always said, "Oh, scariest movie I ever saw was When a Stranger Calls." That's the first 15 minutes of the movie, and the rest of the movie is just like a cop drama.
And a bad one at that,
Yeah,
really.
and like
Yeah.
this has the same. I'm like, oh, it's just like a family, or not even like a small town drama about like the dangers of the media.
Yeah, it's a lot of fake news and tabloids and just yeah.
Uh,
I
but
mean, yeah.
yeah, but it's been fun to. So we'll walk through it, but kind of look into it. So this is a
Mhm.
true story for anyone. It's like the most famous UFO case. The real Travis Walton looks just like Mike Lindell, the fucking My Pillow guy.
Does like mustache, side part, and all.
Bad suit. Like I have him. I have the Wikipedia Fire in the Sky, and it's looking me in the face right here. And it like looked him up on YouTube, and it looks like if we invited him tonight, he would come on this podcast. So it looks like
Oh
he'll come
yeah.
anywhere.
I think he's been trying to raise money to remake this film to be more accurate to what he actually experienced. I'm saying actually experienced because in
Yeah,
his mind he did.
I'm
You know.
glad you brought that up. Because according to the scriptwriter, reported that Walton's accounts are so boring that they insisted on changes, and the director, Robert Lieberman, suspected Walton's account was a hoax, saying, "My gut feeling had it that Travis was so much smarter than those other guys that it started as a gag. They probably laced their beers at the end of the day with some acid or something and
Oh,
put on a show for the guys, and they believe it." And that's the director of the movie.
that's
And I'm like,
amazing.
and kind of like reading a little about it, like his account doesn't change, but it's also at one point it's like, I tried driving this ship, you know,
What?
like yeah.
Oh my god. Imagine though, like imagine that you really are abducted by aliens and then you come back and you tell your story for like a Hollywood motion picture and they're like, that's actually too boring. And you're like, I
Yeah.
was abducted by aliens. What do you
Like,
want from me?
no, it's too boring, Katie.
No,
It's too
too
boring.
boring.
I but I mean if they nailed boring, they nailed the movie. Except
Yeah.
the abduction and the scene. Um
Well, let me ask you this. Where do you come down on aliens? Are they out there?
Good, thank you. I think they're out there. I'm a believer.
I
I
want to
think
believe.
I want to believe. I want to be Scholar. I want to be Molly. Um, Scully and Mulder. I mix those up.
That's all right. You were a
Scolder.
child when it was on.
I
You've
seen
never
them.
seen
I
fire in
seen
the
them.
sky.
I was a child. Fire than sky.
Yeah.
But you know what? I didn't want to. So I don't know if you know this trend. At least of like young, like not millennials, like younger Gen Z. They don't like. They'll be like, "I wasn't born then, so I don't know what that is," and that's not a good excuse for anything. Like
No,
I
you've
know
had
what
the
fire
internet your
this.
whole life.
That's like watch anything that you go, "Oh, like do you see Austin Powers?" And like I have friends who now date like girls in their 20, 23, not 20, like 23, 24, right? And you'll be like, Austin Powers. There's just something that I'm like, that's common knowledge. Are you afraid of the dark?
Yeah.
What is that? I'm like,
Oh,
what do you
no.
mean? So what I mean, my point being is I get it. I should know it.
No, I'm absolutely joking with
I know
you.
you I know you are. But yeah, so his story and just like I do believe. But things like this are a little like harder to believe. Like I think something happened to these guys. I mean, there were seven
Yeah.
of them in the real story,
Yep.
which is kind of funny that they were like, let's just do six because it's easier to follow than
And there's
okay.
still like two of them that you're like, I don't need to know anything from you.
Yeah.
You're hardly in this movie.
Well, one of my first notes is that E.T.? Is that Michael Thomas? What's fucking I think Michael Thomas or whatever. And it looks. I don't know if you watched any of the Mike Flanagan, like the Haunting on Hill House, or like those
Oh yeah.
Netflix. Yeah, so he's an adult in those movies, and
Oh.
I think he plays in Doctor Sleep, The Shining.
Okay.
He plays Jack Nicholson.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I know who you mean.
So, but his face, which is much older now, looks exactly the same as it did in 1993, and it's
Okay.
once again like weird hair,
Yeah.
like the hair, like all the like I don't know. I know like we're just rambling on like the aesthetics of this movie, but like all the hair, it's supposed to be 1975, but a lot of it just looks like an SNL skit trying to be 1975.
Which is wild because it had a budget and this in 1980 what was this 1993. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like
It's a year before.
18 years prior. It's not I mean that's like us making a movie that's set in 2004 or something like that and not being able to nail the fashion or
Yeah,
hair. Like I think we could do it.
I think we could. I mean, we definitely could do it. It's just like pull out those Adidas and like Gap sweatshirts,
Mhm.
and you're golden.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they what are we else? Yeah, so the other account of Walton I have is just like, his story is about that, but it's very just like he claimed that he fought with them, and until a human wearing a helmet led him to another room, and like it's a very weird story. And I hate to say it, I listened to his account today at
Oh,
work because
okay.
but why I hate to say it is I hate to say it because it was on Joe Rogan, but it was clipped out for 10 minutes.
Okay.
I was like, whatever, and of course he had him on for his like 3 hour podcast,
Right.
and it was that. It was kind of like, no, I don't like talking about it. It's like, why are you here?
Why'd you write the book then,
Yeah.
Travis?
Or you at sci-fi conventions.
Right.
But I did want to talk about like alien horror movies. I was trying to think like there's not as many to expect, especially at this time. Like you have like this, which was your account, and then like the tweets I got, like, oh, that's terrifying. And I get it, like you blocked that out and you're a teen or younger, like,
Yeah.
um, and but then I'm like, okay, there's contact. Maybe there's contact.
Yeah.
Uh,
A great movie in my
Contact's
memory.
I
Yeah.
like Contact. I
Yeah.
maybe we revisit and oh god, yeah. And then like all the rest, I'm just gonna say Contact because like Alien, but can you count Alien? 'Cause it's not really an abduction. Um,
No. I think
late
I think this pulls a lot from Close
Close
Encounters of the
Close
Third
Encounters
Kind,
is a good
yeah.
movie though, but that's like
Oh, a
very
great movie.
yeah, very Spielbergy and
And
um
Richard Dreyfuss is just a fucking gem, but
yeah, he's great. I am
yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss. Yeah,
And I just
yeah
don't think anyone in this movie is as much can carry that kind of performance.
he's so charming,
Yeah.
and no one's charming in this movie.
Robert Patrick is not a charming man.
Robert Patrick, I forgot it was Robert Patrick. My first note from it is like, oh, the guy who looks like every person who stars in Law and Order.
He really does though.
And then like, oh, and then I was like, oh shit, that's Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but yeah, the movie's like, it's funny because the rest of the things I was like, it's just all the other stuff are like ET, right? Like Phenomenon, Starman,
Mm-mm.
uh, sure some other shit, but anyway, so we do start off the movie. I'll just dive right into it. We start off the movie just like ominous music, credits. I know I was like, ooh, okay, this is gonna be good. Like the freaking smoke's rising, the lights going, the car comes like barreling out, like smashes into another car, and then you're like, okay. And then to be honest, Katie, I was a little confused for 10 minutes of what
Okay.
was going on.
Okay.
I was kind of like, where are we in the time? Like, you're talking to the cops, who are they? But then we cut right back to these guys, like, all the they're lodgers, so which I guess are men that cut down, they're lumberjacks.
Yeah, they're cutting down trees for some sort of government contract.
And I was like, okay, I get it. Every place that you go to, though, in that town in Arizona looks like a diner.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I know this actually reminds me because the bar they go into has this like wild taxidermy in it. And the next time you're in Pittsburgh, you should visit this taxidermy bar called Joe's Bar in Ligonier. It's about an hour outside of the city, but I meant to tell you this in the pre-show, so you can cut this if need be.
Joe's Bar in
Ligonier. It has a taxidermied elephant.
I
So
will go. I'll take you up on that.
yeah.
No, we
But
wouldn't
yes,
cut anything.
there's one set for this movie, two sets. There's the diner and there's their house, and then they
Yes.
just turn off the lights when it's the bar, and turn the lights on when it's the diner.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And the lodging area, at one point I'm like, oh, a lot of motels and diners. Like, oh no, that's their place of work.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
I could also see you being confused on what's happening here because they just like sort of zombie walk into the bar, and they're not speaking to anyone. And they don't have any sense of urgency, which is also kind of nuts because their friend is newly missing.
and they're like, oh, we'll deal with it later.
Like, no, you would. Is that how you'd behave if you
No,
just watched that happen to your friend?
no, because I think you would at one point would go back and be like, where the fuck is he? And then get the kind of like, he's missing. We were out here.
Right.
That was driving me crazy of that. We'll just call this first, like, it's literally the first hour before we get to I should say, we didn't get to the alien abduction part, 'cause that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're in that diner and like, you know, they're just zonked out, but you're not getting like the trauma vibes, of
Mm-mm.
like, like I told you in the pre-show I was listening to some werewolf episodes and you guys were talking about Hereditary
Mm.
on how like, which is a completely different levels of movies, but like how like Alex Wolf comes back and like is in shock and just goes to
Yeah.
bed, and you get the scene. This is trying to do that,
Yeah.
and it's not working.
It's not working. And another thing that's not working is that I feel like the actors were told to do accents for this movie, but nobody told them what kind, and they're all just doing their own, and
It's
it's
like
like some are Southern, some
some,
are Texas.
yeah, somewhere like Midwesty, but
Yeah,
it's like,
some are like Appalachian.
but you're in Arizona. They're all supposed to be like born bred Arizona. Uh, lack of a better word, like Hicks. That's all
Yeah.
they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But they're not supposed to be deep South
Mm-mm.
or. Good point. Yeah, they weird, like just weird choices of character. Even the sheriff like rolls in like he's uh like Boss Hog, or
Yeah.
like the Dukes of Hazard, not Dukes of Hazard, the other racist thing.
Oh, the other one, the other
Yeah,
racist cop
the
show.
other Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you for like that cop. Speaking of racism, there was I don't know if you caught the very racist line that the other cop when they're giving the accounts, he goes, I'm not going to repeat it.
I'm
It
not
was like
sure.
it made me go ooh racist. When they're giving their account to the cops at the table, and one of the like deputy references like a job they were on, and just throws a slur in there to refer to like Hispanics.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, and like I was like, oh okay, and it never re-popped up, which was good. Like
Good. Yeah.
I wasn't like, I don't know, 1993. It might have not been a slur.
Especially if you're setting it in 1975 because there was like no accountability in 1993 for that kind of thing. But
Well, look at the there's no accountability for that thing, but also look at the sheriff and then the investigation. He's like, no, 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 I believe them. They're good boys.
mhm. Not
They're-
like, yeah, yeah,
um, but so then we do get the encounter. Like I'm just gonna jump right to it. They give
yeah,
the
please.
flashback, and it looks great. I mean, there's this very like dark red, like it's like this Goodfellas lighting you have on them, like the silhouette work. At least early on, I wrote, I was like, oh,
Mhm,
looks really, these silhouettes look great.
mhm.
And they're driving home, and like, what's that? A plane crash? There's smoke. This obviously, I think you be in my boat. I'm like, just drive. Don't be dumb. Just something bad. Even if it's a fire, you're not fixing the fire.
Dudes always want to check it out.
I, yeah. I don't know. I'm a
Groups
scared
of
dude.
dudes are like
Different. Okay, that's
uncontrollable.
different. Okay,
Yeah.
you're not wrong. But they go up and Travis just runs out like he's drawn to it, and that
He's a weird character because he's supposed to be like our protagonist, but you see him riding his motorcycle on the sidewalk early in the movie and almost running over an old lady, and you're like, you're a fucking shithead.
yeah. And in earlier in the movie too, he's he's supposed to be like the lovable shithead, and who's like, I'm reckless, but I'll get my stuff together. And I forget what Robert Patrick's Mike says to him to be like, before you marry my sister, because
Yeah.
they're best friends and brother-in-laws or future brother-in-laws.
Yeah.
I think he said like buy a home or something like that. And I was like, that's a terrible advice. Um, but yeah, and then like he jumps up on this set to kiss her, and no woman has ever looked that good in the morning without like she perfectly like didn't need to do anything. He's like, hi, give me a kiss.
Also, how you sleeping under your window like that? That's
You
no, you don't
you
sleep under a window like that.
the colds you would get.
The colds you would get. Yeah,
God, I sleep with my fan on or my window open. I'm stuffed up for a week.
that's right. Maybe they had better air in Arizona in the 93. I don't know.
Maybe
75, excuse me.
75. They
75. Good air. Great
they
air.
definitely did. It's that dry heat, but
Yeah. That's what they say.
sure. I went out of the West Coast for the first time this year. Not for me.
No. No. No.
So anyway, but the abduction is like he's under this and this fucking like beam of light, and the saucer looked cool because it looked like molten lava, like it looked alive, which was like I was like that was neat.
And see, in my mind, I remembered it being so much scarier. And when I was watching it now, I was like, it looks like an old basketball, like something that got left out and cracked or something, which was disappointing because I remember it being very spooky. So I'm glad that you enjoyed it.
I tried to enjoy like the moments that were there.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
I think actually because I did a little research. Like I think I always like looking up what Siskel and Ebert said. 'Cause
Okay.
they're like 2 minute clips and they're really so they I think Ebert nailed it. He was like, it looks great, some of the best special effects in Alien I've seen, at least in '93, but it's so boring, thumbs down.
So
I
true. It's so true.
was like, yeah, you know what? It's pretty accurate.
And
Um,
like, again, this is an alien abduction story. It need not be boring.
well, so as we're talking, I'm like thinking like it so I don't know how familiar you are with. I keep applying to comparing this to the weirdest movies. How familiar with Jack Frost? The not the horror one, the Michael Keaton Snow Dad.
0%.
Okay, so it's a movie where Michael Keaton's a snowman and he he dies and he comes back as a snowman to like.
Wait, this is not a horror movie?
There is a horror movie called Jack Frost,
But
but
this is not it that
this is
you're just
not a.
sounds terrifying.
You guys really should watch it for like one of your Patreons or something because
Okay.
you guys would have a blast on it because it's so it's like really cringy but really funny like in a bad way and like
Yeah.
it's a tearjerker too. Like you talk to anyone who it's their Christmas movie, like that movie's so sad. The only reason why I'm bringing it up, and then like How to Get Made covered it years ago, so like
Okay.
it's become Laura and I's like one of our go-to like let's get drunk and watch like this Christmas movie and laugh our ass off.
Nice.
But only reason why I bring it up is what I just described to you. Michael Keaton, he's a musician, dies, comes back as a snowman. They take 48 minutes to get to the snowman.
Oh
When you
God.
could get I think you could have summed everything up 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's what this felt like. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, like after the abduction, because I get that what we talked about already. What was that gap between what was the gap between after this abduction, the dirty old basketball?
Mhm.
Because that's really it, right? They like drive after that he raises up and he gets pushed back.
Yeah.
And I did think the double, like almost like they were playing with, like the aliens were playing with him. Was kind
Yes.
of a nice effect.
I remember that scaring me too, and I thought that was like one of the highlights of the movie this time, which is sad because it's a split second, but yeah.
But it was neat.
Yeah.
Maybe I mean maybe if we weren't on a podcast, I don't think I would talk it up with such description. But so it's so they drive off and then we're kind of back in that town, but now it's like the next day, and then we spend what I feel like is another 35 minutes, maybe even longer, just like, we're not going to take the polygraph. We're going to take the polygraph.
And like we're having financial problems. We don't like each other anymore. And
Yeah.
I don't believe you, which I don't know, like sorry the aliens are here.
Yeah, no, it's good effect.
Oh God. Oh God. Okay. That's
You're
good for
good.
the internet, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, his wife doesn't believe him.
Oh, I have so many problems with his wife, but
She's a real miserable piece of work, yeah.
I don't like why? Why do people have to write people's wives as such shrills?
My theory on this is that Travis Walton, who wrote the book,
Mhm.
never liked his best friend's wife, and as a result, wrote her as this like horrible shrew. And I presume she's dead and can't defend herself. I think that's the only way it makes sense.
Okay, then we'll stick with that because I was like, we literally have a note my notes are trash.
Mhm.
But one of my
Mine are too.
notes is like, I don't think I'd be able to leave the house if my wife didn't believe me with something like this.
I know. It's hard. It's actually heartbreaking for Robert Patrick, which is
Yeah.
hard because he's not an emotional actor. And you're like, I'm sure you're sad. You're not showing it, but I'm sad for you.
You know what was a bummer about Robert Patrick? Because, like, you go through the IMDb fun facts. Not really a fun fact, because X-Files came out so much. When he was on the X-Files,
Yeah.
it
Many
was
years later.
season 8 in 2000. And it was, the creators were impressed by his performance in this film, so they decided to cast him.
But wasn't he also in like the Terminator
Oh,
movie?
yeah,
I've
that's
never
his.
seen the second. He's the second one, right?
He's T2 and he's terrifying. And, like, I
Okay.
think he got typecast because my first experience with him is Wayne's World 2 in, like, when I was like,
Yes,
when I
and
was like,
never knew what that scene was referencing.
same.
Yes.
Was like,
Yeah.
when I was like, maybe someone was like 6 or 7, and I was like, I don't get the joke.
Yeah.
This movie's great, but I don't get the joke. And then, like, a couple years later, going, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, he's like a working actor, but
Sure.
and like I think he did get typecast as like hardo cop
Yeah.
Terminator, which is 92 T2.
Oh, it was
I
prior to this.
I think T2's.
I can't believe he deigned to do this.
Well, I think he was 91.
Okay.
I think he was trying to show like I can act.
Oh.
Like I can't just be like, because he's in T2. He's more badass than Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's
Okay.
supposed to be like the more indestructible one.
Okay.
He
Okay.
turns into that like Alex Mack goop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like he didn't do a great job of expressing his many ranges.
I was trying to think of like who would be better of an actor. And I think every person needed to be a little younger too in this. Just a little.
Yeah.
And maybe it was the way their haircuts were, but I kept thinking like they wanted I forget if it's Jeremy or Jason, but they wanted one of the London brothers.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
You know?
interesting because I was just thinking of Matthew McConaughey for this role, which will
Yeah.
bring an element of at least like some pizzazz to it.
Yeah, like I think they need it because then at one point, then they just shift gears of this is your protagonist that you were with the whole time. It's done. We have a new
Yeah.
one. His name
Right.
is Travis.
He's gone until the very end of the movie.
He shows up with the funniest beard of all time.
Oh, he's so sad.
So I don't know where they drive and like I guess just to express the wife scene. I was glad you brought that up because like it was rough, and then like there's like a weird diner fight that like gets out of nowhere with like a local that we did not need to be introduced to.
The guy in the Fleetwood Mac baseball shirt, I think.
I
he's
want
pretty-
that shirt, but
Buck Morton, real asshole.
but like it's like hey, and they get up and like Peter Berg. We forgot to mention Peter. We haven't mentioned that Peter Berg's in this. Like out of nowhere. But then there's the missing friend who hates Travis, but like that also leads nowhere. It's just the cops are like, we're looking for him, and then they bring him, and they don't do anything with him.
They tell us he has a criminal record, but I don't know if they ever told us what it was for. So it kind of doesn't ring true in any way. Where it's like maybe it was like drug possession or like speeding. I don't know. It could be anything.
Larceny.
Yeah.
Like
anything.
Yeah.
And this guy, you like know he's a bad guy because he's eating an apple with a knife, which like you've never seen anyone do in real life ever.
Like in Dennis the Menace.
Yes, exactly. And so the cops suspect that he has murdered Travis, and they're like, I don't think even the sheriff says to Robert Patrick, like, I think maybe you didn't kill your friend, but for the life of me, I can't figure out why you're covering it up. And it's like, well, if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the sheriff was trying.
Yeah. So there's the town sheriff, and then there's James Garner, who's the out of town sheriff, I guess.
He's the like investigator. I thought he was the state basically because the case is so high profiled, which I don't know in 1990, like how they spread, or in 1975, how did it spread that fast?
I don't know, because he's there the next morning.
He's there the next morning. The Inquirer is there, or yeah, the Inquirer basically.
Actually, he's there that night. I think he shows up in the bar that night.
Well, small
There's no
town in
way.
Arizona, they all have their
Yes.
state offices.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end of the movie, that same guy is like, when they fuck up, I'll be there. It's
Sir,
like,
move on to a new case.
sir, no one died. He's
Yeah.
like, they wasted some taxpayers' dollars, but it's like
Yeah.
1975 taxpayer dollars.
We were wasting taxpayer dollars like crazy.
And yeah, Robert Patrick does give this very like well-spoken, heartfelt monologue in the town hall.
I do love a small town meeting movie scene though, like in Field of Dreams when she's yelling around about the books. I love that. So this is fine.
Yeah, it's like stained glass in the back of it. Kind of is like are they in a church, aren't they? Like, doesn't matter. And yeah, there's just this heartfelt speech. And he's like, you're either with us or whatnot. And then they start searching. And there was an odd thing after that when they do the search party. They like make note of a Native American man.
Yeah.
And never comes back into play really. Because I was like, my brain was going, I was like, oh, cool. There's going to be some sort of like Native American, like Arizona, like very location appropriate, like conversation, and like these are aliens, and like you guys are validated, right? Like that's where a traditional movie would have went. Maybe
yeah, exactly that X-Files arc. I don't know if you watched the X-Files, but they did that whole arc. Yeah,
I did. I should say I watched until Mulder left, and then I just.
That's all you need to see.
Yeah. Fizzled off. Jose Chung's.
Yes, it's so good.
It's great. But yeah, that was kind of where my guessing was going, and it didn't go anywhere with that. Like there was a lot of like things they'd introduced, and they were like, nah.
It's actually almost shocking in 1993 that they didn't try to fit in some Native American mysticism because it was so of the time too.
Free Willy.
I've never seen Free Willy, and that's a point of pride for me.
That's a good point of pride. But that it was like that was in a Free Willy thing, right? There's like Native American cast, which is like very cool for like 1993 to do that, but it's part of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Poltergeist 2, I think, is all about that, or 3.
Oh, right. For the first one, it's on a Native American burial ground.
Yeah.
And then the second one, that guy just shows up on their porch. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're right on there though, with 93 being like, well, we should add something.
Yeah.
The Diamondbacks logo does look pretty sweet.
Oh God, I hate the Diamondbacks logo.
No,
in 93 it was cool.
Their new one is awful.
The snake biting a baseball?
It's awful.
Why
it's awful.
is it? Why would it bite the baseball?
It looks like a team.
Yeah.
The old one that like Randy Johnson, I think of like Randy Johnson. That's what I mean. Like it's very
gotcha.
Has that Native American like aesthetic to it.
Right.
Or what I assume Arizona is. But anyway, that went nowhere. And then like tell me if I'm missing anything. Mike gets back home. And then his wife and him are kind of cool now. And is like, she's like,
she was touched by his speech, I guess.
Yeah, she was like, we've been receiving these phone calls all week or like 3 days.
This is insane that she doesn't even tell the police about calls from a potentially missing man. Like, even if you think the whole thing's a hoax, like report that.
Yeah.
That's why I think they hated each other, Travis and the wife in real life.
Well, they did divorce.
No, I mean Travis and his friend's wife.
For his friend's wife.
She was like, he was missing for 3 days calling on this payphone collect. And she was just like, fuck you, Travis, and kept hanging up.
Yeah, and every collect call, it's like, well, I'm not answering that.
Yeah, I'm not paying 30 cents for this shit.
Yeah, I was like, okay. He's like, no, wait, give me back. And he's like, it's me, Mike. Or Mike, help me.
Yeah.
And then they find him in like this random fucking like gas station area, like several miles outside of town.
Bare ass naked.
And
he's screaming when they come near him or touch him, which I also thought was like kind of a powerful scene of him just being, it's very like trauma response, you know?
Yeah. And like that is one thing they do like nail a little bit. Like I mean, that's why you also find it so scary. Is like the way they handle like post trauma. Like this is
Mm,
where I say like if this movie was 30 minutes, this started 30 minutes into the movie,
yeah.
and maybe the movie's an hour and a half and not nearly two. You
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
strong little thriller.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, but yeah, this they find him, and then like the only thing I said, and I'm just being an ass here, is like he needs water, but it's raining outside also. As if my body wasn't starving for water, I wouldn't be sucking rain puddles.
Just like opening your mouth
Yeah,
to the sky like a turkey.
and it's like pouring. But I
Yeah.
get it. That was like that's like not a really criticism, but so they find him, they set him up, and for some reason, like a real dirtbag, Mike calls. Earlier in the movie, we met something called a FAR, and I didn't write down the full acronym.
Oh,
Did
it's
you?
I don't have it.
It's
I don't
like
have it.
it's like American familiar, like or like Foundation Alien something. Anyway,
Yeah, I
he
can't find it.
he calls them, and
Yeah.
he's like, instead of the cops, like to clear their name, because I'd be like, great, we found our friend, something fucking weird, but like the cops are on
We
our ass.
we didn't murder him. Look,
Yeah,
he's
like
right
he's
here.
here.
Yeah.
Nope, let me call a reporter or some or
A
whatever.
ufologist.
UFO.
Ufologist? Ufolo
I like ufologists and
ufologist?
extra ufologists. We'll stick with that.
Got it.
He guy just rambles off like clearly he's non-responsive. What 15 questions of like, do this. It's like
And they're backing him into a corner in the bathroom too. Like in what world would that be like an appropriate even in 93 would that be an appropriate way to treat someone who's clearly
75
experienced some
even.
trauma? He's
It's
975, you're absolutely right.
yeah, but
Though I don't think he claimed this part really happened, did he? That they called UFO
that
investigators?
I did not
I
see
don't think
any
that's
like
I think that's padding in this movie.
it's padding and like this movie's all about like setting paranoia around right
Yeah.
like the town paranoia, we don't believe you, and then when he's back, but that's just padding in there because like the report, I'm gonna keep calling reporters even though they're not, they're like, you get the fuck out of here if you don't want to leave, and it's like, whoa, you're the guests,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And like that's where like Mike as his best friend should have like taken care of that guy and been like, okay, yous are done here, like we'll call you another day.
Yeah.
But then we get back and like we get a hospital scene
Mhm.
and we get like little glimpses here and there of the abduction at first, right?
Yeah, like it's lightning and the lightning is triggering the memories of being
Mhm,
abducted. So we sort of get the hospital scenes mixed with alien
mhm.
flashbacks. Yeah.
And so and that was really neat. And like, so he's in the hospital, he's still not responsive, and then responds. And then we get like a weird exchange between once again him and Mike, where they both well, actually more Mike just gets attitude out of Travis out of nowhere. Once
Yeah.
again, your friend's dealing with like deep trauma.
Yeah, and he just found out that you left him for dead because we
Yeah.
didn't mention this, but
Oh
when he gets
yes.
knocked backwards, he's laying on the ground. There's smoke coming out of his mouth, which yes, is not great for your body. And they're all just like, "He's dead. Let's go. He's dead. He's clearly dead." He's like, "Okay, just go." Like there's oh my god. I would
No,
be so sad to know that my friends left me.
no, it's heartbreaking. They just drove off without
Yeah.
him. Like,
He has every right to be upset about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like even if he did, even if he was just left in the woods.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mike's like, "Well, if you hadn't gotten out of the truck in the first place, none of this would have happened." It's like, "Sir, a little late for that."
Yeah, he was also like kind of possessed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, they like fight, like they like have that fight, and then like we're back at like his homecoming party
Why would you have a surprise party for this person? It's so upsetting.
because his wife is terrible.
Yeah.
No, his girlfriend's not
His
terrible.
no, his girlfriend seems okay. Yeah.
His girlfriend seems okay. Um, but yeah, they have this surprise party for him, and of course he has PTSD. Like,
He's yes. It doesn't seem like he's been out of in it doesn't seem like he was in the hospital that long.
no,
This is a quick turnaround.
like I don't know if you've ever gotten into like I've only ever been in like minor ones, but like a car accident, like a fender bender, or like any
Mhm.
sort of, you get maybe not full PSD, but you get a full like timidness of doing
Oh, yeah.
anything after that. Like I've been in a few where like your attitude changes just a little bit. The
Yeah.
same thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very insensitive of them. But
Uh,
he is still married to Dana Walton, so I guess
okay, they're
that's
still married.
nice. Yeah.
They definitely were at January 6th. Uh,
Oh, is he,
no, I'm kidding. I'm just thinking of the Mike Liddell.
oh, gotcha.
Please don't sue me, Travis Walton.
He's like,
Uh,
"Hey, I" he's also on the Joe Rogan podcast, so
yeah,
I'm
hey, I was listening to you, and let me take your 2-bedroom apartment. So no, he doesn't. But no, that's good. They're still married.
yeah,
Um,
she
but
believes him.
this, I think a lot of people believe him. There was I didn't watch it. Like you guys on Werewolf. I try to do. I don't do. I don't. I try to do a little like fun fact research, but I'm not driving
Mm-mm.
completely unless I am like absolutely like in love with it, and I'm like that was fun to listen to the commentary or something.
Yeah.
This right here, um, is when we get to we finally get. He's under the table, and like honey
Yeah.
drops in his mouth, and then we
Yeah.
finally get to this abduction scene.
It's so good, though.
It's great. I mean, we
Yeah.
start off like it's so gross.
Yes, his hand is in what looks like relish, but, like, relish that's
Yeah.
gone bad, and it's all over his body.
It's yeah, it's like relish, and he's alive though, and he like
Mhm.
punches his way out, and
Yeah, he's in this cocoon that has, like, a membrane, like, when he cuts through the membrane, it's
yeah,
so disgusting, I
it
love it.
and it looks like I like to say remember because I was like it's like the womb, like it's like
Yeah.
very like that, and it's nasty, and it's using all that like goop and like the like probably like the KY jelly there, like because
Yeah.
that was the big deal. The big deal for Travis, no, for DB
Sweetie.
Sweeney was that this was done by ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, the special effects company.
Oh, okay.
And I thought Rick Baker did this because of he didn't, but I thought he reused the Night Skies aliens
Oh,
that Spielberg developed.
I don't know
And
those either. I'll have to
oh,
look I'll look them up.
it's a famous like non-movie that never got made. Like
Okay.
Spielberg wrote a horror movie, and that horror movie turned into E.T.
Got it,
But
okay.
like Rick Baker did, I think it's Rick Baker did a shit ton of like alien. They look kind of like this for that movie.
Yeah.
That looked kind of scary,
With,
and
like,
then
those
that
sort of turtle snout kinda things.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then that turned into ET. That's not this, but anyway, he wanted to be in James Cameron's. James Cameron was developing Spider-Man,
Okay.
so he was hoping the wire work in this would be his audition for Spider-Man. That never got made.
No.
Um, but anyway, um, but yeah, this membrane, and it's very reminiscent, or I guess the Matrix would steal from this, but it's very
Mhm.
reminiscent of the Matrix, like when Neo wakes up and he's covered in that, like reborn, that like goop, and they're the pods, and he breaks out of the
Yeah.
pods, like, and then we get a very long scene of him just flying his way up.
Yes, he exits this, like, cocoon and is in a zero gravity environment and is sort of, like, holding onto a rope for a while and swinging around, and then somehow he gets sort of, like, thrown back up into a cocoon, but I don't recall how
And
that
that was my
happens.
favorite part, though, because he gets thrown, or one of them gets thrown, and it's just this dead, rotting corpse.
Yes,
Because
it's
I
so
guess
good.
not every like not every specimen survives.
Yes, but that also begs the question of what exactly is this experiment? Like, what are they doing? But we'll get
So
there.
I I like I didn't work. I procrastinated at work today, so I googled this movie as much as I could,
Okay.
and one of them came up was Patton Oswald gave his like top 5 like favorite sci-fi like horror or something, and this was one of them. And
Okay.
it kind of sucks because he even said he was like not great, but the body like the horror scenes work.
Yeah.
And the one thing he said, which is so neat about it, and I was like, I did connect, and I think this is what the experiment was. He was like, it's they're so surgical. They're not out for anything. It's like how we tag like a wild animal, and that's
Okay.
how he's treated. And then it was like that kind of makes sense with the way it's shot,
Sure.
right? Like, I'm sure when we like take like like a shark out of the water and tag it, or like a dog and tag, like they're not being cooperative.
No, they don't wanna go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you throw them back out there. I
Right.
think that's kind of how this is treated.
Okay. And, like, some things don't survive the procedure and they just stay in their cocoons.
That cocoon didn't make. I think that was just in there for gross out.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
but it was awesome. It
It
was
was
like,
awesome, yeah. And
and
he's also when he's floating around out there, he's seeing all of this, like, detritus of other people's lives, like glasses and keys, and that I think that's just a very good eerie vibe of
yeah,
sort of, like, discarded elements.
I'd be screwed if I lost my glasses.
Yeah, right? I have nightmares where I lose my glasses and I have to drive a car.
Ooh, no, dude, I have a pet
Oh, sorry if I put that in your head.
No, I keep repairing the car, but still, that
Smart.
nightmare is always in there. I'm blind.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's a good nightmare. That was scary. Um, but yeah, so it's like this very like ambient, poetic, like yeah, you slimy cocoon. Yeah, that's literally what I'm just zoned in. The Wikipedia says in flashback, he awakens inside a slimy cocoon,
Yeah.
and like just kind of goes up, and then in a weird way, like falls back down, and
Yeah.
once again, Travis does a very Travis thing. Instead of like looking around, he starts touching these aliens and goes spacesuits.
There is no reason to touch them. I would never touch them. Why would you touch them?
I was like, at first, oh, maybe they're like aliens they murdered, and like we're gonna see the other aliens, and then he said
Yeah.
spacesuits, and then you see that one come behind.
But when he takes the mask off, it doesn't it have like a weird old man alien head underneath?
Yeah,
Yeah. So what okay. So it's the
yeah.
aliens spacesuits, but they leave them on in their ship, I guess?
I think they were just. The way it looked like they were like in hibernation,
Okay, gotcha.
like like they were kind of like docking or something like that.
Are we gonna talk about the meme you sent me today or no?
Oh yes, yes, immediately because it's gonna I was bored, so I looked up "fire in the sky" on Twitter because why not? And the only thing that came up is that the aliens, and I'll have Yusuf put the two up here. Hopefully, look like they look just like Joe Biden,
President Joe Biden.
President Joe Biden, and it's just the I think I said like the dry mouth,
Yeah, the pulled tight across
like
from
no
mouth.
lips, like
Yeah.
they look like when he's trying to like eat an ice cream, making a like joke there. Like we've seen a lot of those ice cream
Yeah.
eating photos.
Yeah. Oh.
Um, yeah, it was it kind of because I said I watched it. I finished the movie after I saw that.
Oh,
And
did you? So you were ready for the Joe Biden alien.
it kind of took the like wind out of the sails of
Yeah, I could
the.
see that.
And I was like, huh, that's funny.
It is.
um, but the scene is really creepy though because the kicker that I'm sure you remember, I'm sure that everyone remembers, like this is a horrifying movie. Is he's strapped down to the bed, and like that is something I have nightmares on. The being
Mhm.
restricted, and like this like blanket like silicone kind of falls on him, straps him down, and
Like shrink wraps him.
shrink wraps him.
Yeah.
And they just slit his one eye open and his mouth open, and then um they put those like eye prong holders in to keep his eye open in his mouth, and like a needle in his neck. I mean, they just kind of
They're
probe him up.
cramming all this disgusting goop in his mouth while it's forced open, which is just such a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, and that goop, it seemed like, yeah, exactly. It seemed like maybe that's what they do to, view the body or whatever it is. It's terrifying.
Yeah. And then
And
they put a needle into his eyeball.
and it was the longest needle, and like,
Ugh.
and then they flash back to him in I was going to say in America, but just on Earth, and
He's in America, though,
he
to be
isn't in
fair.
America, but
Yeah.
like on Earth.
Yeah.
And it's just like you could see the red dot there, right?
Yeah.
Like they like punctured probably like for anyone watching, like in the corner of the eye, I'd
Mhm.
imagine. Awful. Just like, oh, that's like, but give me like three, like give me like the Travis Walton like inspired movie, like like
Yeah.
three, like we're loosely based, like give me like three more scenes of that and like whatnot, because I do like keeping the aliens at a distance. Like we didn't
Right.
need to see,
If you can't
like,
make them look good, don't put them on the
you
screen,
know,
right?
do what like good movies do, with like a good alien movie did, like Signs. I think Signs is a pretty good alien movie.
Till they show it.
But that's so they
Yeah.
show it, and then the thing's a little too long.
Yeah.
Um, I forget if they showed him or not, but I remember the Fourth Kind really creeping me out.
I've never seen that actually.
Yeah, it's like it's the found footage version of this, like
Oh, okay.
true life based on Alaska, and like Mila Jovovich is in it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Of course
it's
she is.
yeah, of course she is. It's decent. Um, but but yeah, we get that scene, and then like you the needle line, and then we cut back, and the weird part is we don't cut back to the party. We just cut back to
Years
him.
later?
Yeah, 2 years later.
So dumb.
But it doesn't say 2 years later.
No.
I wish it did.
Yeah, because they just have to do this sort of clunky, like, well, it's been 2.5 years, hasn't it? And you're
Yeah,
like,
and
yeah, you could have just, okay, gotcha.
yeah, and he's like, bye. He like says bye to like his kid and like his wife.
His pregnant wife, it's so
Yeah,
cute. They're so happy. Like,
yeah.
okay, you're so happy.
And then
But
he.
but I feel like we glossed over this, and
Oh,
I feel
I'm
like
so
we need to
sorry.
talk about it now. But
Yeah,
they have made such a big deal out of these polygraph exams, right? That like if they take a lie detector test and they pass
you.
it, it exonerates them forever. And we're told that all but the dangerous guys were showed that they were telling the truth, but the dangerous guys was inconclusive. Okay, that's to set up the last scene.
No. I'm so glad you fucking said that, because it also, I looked up how accurate were polygraphs, and I couldn't get like how accurate they were in like 1975 specifically, but it says 64 to 98%, and the one guy's line is charts don't lie.
Charts don't lie. I mean,
They
polygraphs are, if you're ever suspected of a crime, this is my legal advice. I'm not an attorney. Never agree to take a polygraph. Never. There's no reason for it.
yeah, it wild.
Yeah. But it's to this movie, and I think this must again be Travis Walton being like, polygraphs, this proves it. Like he must just be clinging to that in his
Well,
book. But
it has to be, because the end of the oh, so thank you for bringing up the polygraphs, because it is very important, because that's like, yeah, I glossed over, because it was like that was the whole like 30 minutes of like post abduction of just like, gonna take the polygraph. I'm not gonna take the polygraph.
I already took a polygraph.
We're cooperating, and it's like
Yeah.
you're doing a really bad job of cooperating.
Yeah.
They he drives. We get no closure on any of the other Walton gang, the Walton Five.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in real life it would be the Walton Seven, but like the Walton Six, we get no closure. But him and Mike. Mike, he like decides to turn around on a road, and we get no reference to this. Drives to a cabin, and my one knows, why the fuck would you ever want to live out in the woods after you experience that?
I know.
To Mike, anyway, we said it earlier, having these, somehow his hair under the hat was bad. This is worse.
It's so long. It's so gross.
It's like ratty, and and it's the beard, and you could see like the glue on the beard. I mean, it's bad. Like it's fucking bad, and that's all I was really focusing on. But that's where I realized it was 2 years later, because he goes, "It's been 2 years,"
Yeah.
and he was like, "Yeah, he was like your wife," and or I guess his ex-wife, because they did divorce, but he moved out, like he left everything. He's a recluse.
Has abandoned his children,
Yeah,
seemingly. Great job,
he's like, your
asshole.
kids are doing great. I didn't see him for 2. I was like, what the fuck? What a
You're
piece
a
of shit!
monster. You're a piece of shit.
What a piece of shit!
Yeah. I can't believe that. I don't know. I feel like because then we get the closing credit titles cards that say that he did divorce his wife, and then he and to Travis, Mike, and the dangerous guy all took another polygraph in '93, which is the year this movie was made.
Well, that's what I wanted to bring up. Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, they wrap up and they get closure with each other, and that's really it, right? He's like,
Yeah.
I forgive you.
As if this were a movie about their friendship. It really wasn't.
It wasn't. It wasn't. They try to. So, yes. So the title card brought up, and you know what? I put my phone up because I didn't feel like typing it, so I took a photo of the screen. I missed the thumbprint on the phones. You know, now it uses the face.
I have
yes.
a very old phone.
Oh, I just upgraded. I have the same phone for 6 years, and I upgraded to like the newest thing. And anyway, that's besides. So it says Mike and Katie Rogers divorced in 1996 or 1976. Mike worked in carpentry, construction. I don't give a shit. And painted houses before accepting a job in 1992 to once again cut trees on the Mongolian Rim.
I don't need Mike's CV. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care what he does for a living.
Yeah. Mike's not my interest. None of this really is, actually.
Mike could be turning tricks for all I care. Yeah. And then Travis and Donna Walton live with their 4 children in Snowflake, Arizona, where Travis is a foreman at a local mill and also just obsessively going on any show that will listen to him.
Yeah.
I did catch there's a Discovery Plus produced episode of an abduction thing they just put out this past year about him.
Okay. I'll look into it.
Yeah,
I won't. I don't know why I said that. I'm not going to.
I was going to, and I was like, nah, we're just gonna record and have fun.
Yeah.
And then so this is where we're at with the polygraphs. And this makes me go, the movie, the producers said, I need as many people to take a polygraph. Because why did they wait till 1993 when the movie was released?
Right. And it's been that many years. Like, your memory has changed. I mean, even if a polygraph was accurate, it certainly isn't this many years later. But it says, go ahead.
Oh, no, yeah. Oh, do you want to read it?
No, I don't know. I just remember that it says they all passed. And passed was underlined. Like, yes.
Yeah, all passed.
Go to hell,
Travis,
guys.
Mike Rogers, and Alan Dallas, whose earlier tests proved inconclusive. This time, they all passed. And
I mean, the questions had to have been like, did you murder Travis? And he's like, no, he's out in the waiting room.
Yeah, you see, he's right here. Yeah. It's really silly.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how to put it, because you're probably right where Travis, the real Travis Walton, was hung up on the polygraph.
Yeah, it was something that could prove it in his mind, I assume.
Because I'm never going to read his book. I'm never going to, after our conversation, I'm probably never going to want to watch anything about Travis Walton again.
I'm probably going to think in 10 years, oh yeah, that was a scary movie. I should rewatch that. And then I'm going to be like, ah!
I get it. I get it, though, because it is, the scenes that are horrifying, especially to, a child's brain.
Yeah, I can't wait to show my kid this movie.
Oh yeah, she's gonna shit. Yeah, well, I remember last time we talked, you were thinking of maybe this year or so introducing her to Are You Afraid of the Dark?
That is absolutely not happening. She still can't handle Scooby-Doo.
Okay, yeah. No, okay, never mind.
I had high hopes, but she's just a little.
Zombie Island's pretty scary. That's the only Scooby-Doo one I'm familiar with.
She's been watching this terrible Scooby-Doo called What's New Scooby-Doo from the mid 2000s or maybe the late 2000s, I think. But it's all set to pop punk music.
Ooh.
It's Simple Plan does the theme song. It's really
it's
really
changed.
Not great. Yeah,
it's changed a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad she's enjoying it. You have her dip her toe in.
Yeah.
But yeah, we so that's Fire in the Sky. But you know what? I would say it might be decent, starter horror.
Yeah, I think so. I think it can. I think it certainly has some horrifying scenes. Oh my God! Why is that happening? I'm so sorry.
Because the extras, the extraterrestrials.
Disappear in a beam of light. Please don't presume I'm dead, okay?
Okay, I won't. I'll
call the police.
I'll call the police. I guess I'll go through the forms of contact is I'll message the Werewolf Ambulance.
Yeah,
Twitter
Alan will get right back to you.
Hey, Alan, something happened to Katie. Blah blah blah. Contact Rob. We'll go through the chain. I think
it'll work.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's fine. It's like, I don't know, I feel like there's just better, like, not even alien abductions, there's, like, better TV movies that are, like, because this feels like a TV movie with just,
It
like, a little
does.
budget. Because it's like you guys, covered, I don't think too long ago, The Scarecrow, The Night the Scarecrow Came or something like
Yeah. Dark Knight of the Scarecrow,
Scarecrow,
yeah.
yeah, pretty decent movie.
Yeah, with
That
way
was
better acting than
Yeah,
this.
that was a
Yeah.
TV movie from, like, 1980, like, 1
Yeah.
or something. Um, so it's possible, but I don't even think this needs to get remade. Just take his account and make a horror movie.
Yeah,
Like, do what all the other horror movies do. Like,
right. Well, all they do is remake, right? That's the thing.
oh,
But
this is getting remade. I mean,
yeah.
the reaction I had alone, like I said, yeah, that we had alone of people even remembering it being like, holy shit,
Yeah.
it's viable for a remake.
Yeah, for sure.
Although I couldn't stop saying all day, singing "Fire in the Sky" like it was the Reading Rainbow, like "Fire in the Sky."
Oh, that's so funny because I've had Smoke on the Water stuck in my head for the last 48
Yeah,
hours.
I think that has to be where they got the name from, though.
Yeah.
"Smoke on the Water."
Yeah. Fire in the
Mhm.
sky.
So
Anyway.
that's all good. But Katie, anything else to add to this? I thank you for picking it, though. Really, though,
Oh,
it's always
sure.
fun to discuss. I'm like glad I'm always glad to watch something that's not just like you didn't come on here like, let's watch. I'm looking at this poster I have of like all these horror movies because my brain's shot. You know, let's watch. Oh, they're all fucking obscure. Let's watch. Let's watch Pet Cemetery. Like it'd be like,
Oh,
okay,
sure.
like, like that'd be fun,
Yeah.
but sure.
Yeah.
So no, it was just really fun to discuss because
Yeah.
it's definitely different. I it's we don't review it at the end of this podcast, but like I don't know if I'd recommend it. If you're looking for aliens, there's plenty of others people could watch.
I think you should YouTube search the scary scenes.
Mm.
And then think about how Eli Roth, who I think is about my age, probably saw it as a teenager and was like, oh, I have a style now.
Oh my god, that
So,
is Eli Roth style.
yeah.
Shit.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Made more of himself than this movie did.
Yeah. He's doing all right. He's made
Yeah.
himself a horror face.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, yeah, I got nothing else to add to this. So,
I'm done.
yeah. So Katie, where can everyone find you?
Werewolf Ambulance. You can find us on Twitter. We're on anywhere you listen to podcasts. We have a YouTube channel that we post to very rarely. But just search for us. You can find us out there.
Cool. Yeah. No, some fun. The EMTs are great.
Yeah. It's a really nice community.
And yeah, you can find us here on Flyover State of Fear and on all the socials and check out Flyover State of Film. And yeah.
Joe,
Thanks.
thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
No problem. Anytime. All right. Stay frightful, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.